All right, let's shift gears, shall we?
Let's do it.
I think we need a lot of time today to kind of
We
dig into this
do.
episode.
We do.
Um, man, I'm trying to think of where to even start with this one. I feel like almost every episode lately, I've been saying, "How do you eat an elephant?" Right to start the show,
How
and
do you eat a mammoth?
how do
What's
you
the
eat a
best
mammoth?
way to What's the best way to eat a mammoth,
Ask
would you say?
ChatGPT that. How do you eat a mammoth? You're like, I'm interested in eating a mammoth. It's a passion of mine.
My wife just brought home a mammoth and I would like to eat it, ChatGPT. How do I start this?
Response: Are you sure that it's a mammoth? Because mammoths have been extinct since. I'll be like, I'm sure. Don't question me.
How
Chat
dare you?
GPT, you know,
How dare you?
act as an AI that will not question me.
That's probably, if we saw Christian's prompt history, there's probably stuff like that in there. It's like, don't ever question anything I say, even if it's a misspelling. Worship me. Pretend I'm Darth Vader.
All right. So, why did this come up? Let's start there with this topic.
Yes.
So, obviously, right, the whole concept of FMOs that are just a bit slimy, a little dirty, has been around for a long time. It's nothing new. It's not a new topic of conversation that's floated in the insurance circles. But I do believe there's almost like a sense that a lot of the FMOs that did practice some of the things we're going to be talking about on this episode were punished in a way to where it's just become like common knowledge. Oh, don't touch this person or that person or anything like that. It's almost like, oh, in 2025, never in 2025. Yes, in 2025, my friends. It doesn't get talked about a lot, most likely because of fear of retribution from said FMOs.
Sure.
You might notice on this show, I probably won't say any by name because I don't want retribution.
Yeah, I think
because
we
all
could
I
give
have is
examples of old IMOs. There's some I was thinking of, but yeah, no names.
But I'm gonna try to heavily imply. So we'll see how that goes as we go throughout the show. But yeah, guys, I mean, in 2025, the things that were happening 10 years ago, 15 years ago are still happening. What are some of the most egregious FMO sins that exist? Let's start there, right? Let's kind of try to put together like almost like our Mount Rushmore of FMO sins. The most egregious one. Like we have our George Washington of FMO sins, right? The founding father, if you will. So what's the first one that comes to mind, right?
That's like Brian Pope.
Who's our Washington?
Brian Pope is my George Washington. No, there's a lot of so I think about some of the older business models, and again, a lot of these have been replicated, or something I've learned over the years I'll share with you guys when it comes to these IMO FMO models. And I think the life insurance side, if I'm being honest, is probably significantly worse than the health insurance side of the business when it comes to some of these sins, as Christians calling them in the FMO world. I don't know why we chose that word, but here we are. Amen. Amen, Brother Brindle.
Put your hand here, please.
Yes.
The other thing I want to mention before we go too deep into this is if we can think of more than 4, right, for our Mount Rushmore, let's talk about it. Let's get like 5, 6, 7 out there on the table, and then let's narrow it down to a top 4.
Top 4 worst things an FMO can do to screw over a downline agent.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. We set the table. I'm thinking about what I've experienced personally as an agent, and obviously this has to be in the top 4 in my opinion is getting screwed over with marketing. And I've seen it. This screw over can happen several different ways. I've been a part of paying for leads, waiting for leads, being told leads are coming and they never come, and then being given excuses like, sorry, I know you paid per lead, but our response rate was so low that we don't have leads to give you. So not getting leads, being told leads are exclusive when they're not, and you're getting a shared lead.
Yeah.
You know, getting ridiculously overpriced leads from your FMO, because I've seen that where they're literally doubling or tripling what their cost. In my mind, a good FMO is co-oping or discounting or even taking a loss on marketing to help you, right? Depending on your situation, very dynamic. But the idea that your FMO is coming to you with a triple marked up lead, hey, $75, $80 for this direct mail lead that cost us $20. I've seen it.
Sure. Yeah. That's a good one, right? So if we were going to categorize that, it would be selling old leads, non-exclusive leads, right? Just for anything like that, right? Screwing over their downline with leads. Maybe that's how we categorize that one. To me, another one would be, I think we go, you say one, I say one, until we get a pretty good list here, and then we can kind of narrow it down.
Yeah.
To me, another one would be, I'm trying to think of the most egregious thing. I don't know if it's the most egregious, but it is on my mind, so I'll just say it. Having a no release policy.
Yeah.
Not releasing people. Again, I don't know if it makes the Mount Rushmore, but I think it belongs in the conversation, right? Not releasing, right? So I will preface my comments by saying, right, as an FMO, I see things from both sides at times. There is good reasons for an FMO not to release you. Like one example would be, like, let's say they gave you some co-op money.
Yep.
And you take it, you don't write any business, and you want to release like in a couple weeks later, even 6 months later, right? They give you, let's say, $3,000 of co-op money. You do 0 apps. You're just like, thanks, that paid my mortgage this month.
Rollback debt.
Yeah, rollback debt's a good one. If you are an LOA, they don't really have to release. I mean, not to say they never have to release you, but it's pretty industry standard that many situations with LOAs, they don't get released.
That might be number one, is FMOs who won't release agents who haven't done anything wrong. That might be number one. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna brawl about it. We're gonna brawl about it.
I'm jumping the gun. I'm sorry.
We're gonna brawl about it because we gotta narrow this down.
We're gonna brawl about it. Your word choice is killing me today.
Thanks, Alpha Brain.
We're sitting and then we're gonna brawl about it.
Okay, so that's 2. What's your number 3? What's the next one that comes to mind?
So this is one that came up recently that we were discussing yesterday, is recruiting agents or downlines or agencies away from you. And this is not
that was my next one I was going to say for sure. So our minds you took it right away from me. Yes. My 4th pick of the draft is off the board.
Bang. This is a big one. This is a
huge one. So for those of you that don't understand, and we're seeing FMOs, what I'm hearing from some of their top agencies, a couple different instances now, there's one in particular that you guys might hear their name every day, that they are doing this blatantly and they don't give a rat's ass about it from all intents and purposes. Their name is reminiscent of a flickering flame. I'll tell you that much.
Ooh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
No, but I'm hearing this. I'm hearing that, like, their agencies that work with them, right? Their bigger agencies are typically going to have agencies underneath them, agents of their own, right? It's like almost like an unwritten rule, similar to releases. Releases is kind of like this unwritten rule at this point, to where if an agent's done nothing to deserve not getting a release, they should be released. No questions asked.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you like it as an upline. It doesn't matter where they want to go. That's just good business.
Yep.
And it's almost so an unwritten rule that you don't cannibalize your own agencies when
Right.
you're an FMO. Like, what I mean by this is, let's say, there's FMO, there's upline, just call them upline underneath them. Then that upline has agents underneath them. The FMO is going around this middle upline here, going directly to the agents underneath and recruiting them out direct to the FMO. Like, you have to be a low piece of shit to do something like that as an FMO. And
Do you want to be competing with your FMO?
yeah,
That's insane. They're supposed to be helping grow your business, not your competitor.
There is a moral conversation to be had, right? And
yes,
I've always said, if your FMO is doing or would do any of these things, how can you trust that they will work with you in a moral way and a good partnership way in any regard, right? They have no morals, they have no ethics, as far as I'm concerned. Trust is massive with uplines and FMOs. That's a really bad one, and one that I just didn't think we'd see in 2025. But we're hearing it. I'm hearing it a lot from one group.
Well, another thing I was going to mention on this topic too is there's a really big IMO FMO who recently got purchased, who was notorious for doing this.
Yeah.
And again, you can kind of read between the lines. You might know who I'm talking about. So it happens all the time. This is a very common flagrant foul, not a sin, but a foul. Technical foul is what I would call. That's my name.
Can fouls be so hard fouls that they are sins? Or they're like assaults?
Imagine an NBA rep. That's a sin. Sin on Chet Holmgren. You have to leave the game and go repent right now. That's how bad that was.
And both teams have their priest on the sideline.
Okay, I'm gonna let you take that one since it was technically yours, and I have another one.
No. You can have that one. You can have it. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. Like, it's all fair in love and war.
Okay, we're brawling. We're brawling here.
If you do want to throw out another one for number 4 that's on your mind,
I have another one. Another one. This is a big one for me that I've seen a lot, and this is verbal deals or agreements that never get written, and then they go back. I'll give you a common example of this is commission levels. I've seen it where, and especially on the life side, where they'll say, yeah, I'm going to put you at this commission level and you can come, be in our downline. Well, they're recruiting them, right? They're recruiting them. They say, and then it's like, hey, can I get that in writing? Can you send that an email? Oh, I can't for my own privacy, because I don't want my competitors seeing that we're offering this. This needs to be kind of kept secret. And they won't put it in writing. And then a lot of times an agent might not even check. They might not even call the carrier to see what their levels are. That's the game they're playing. They're hoping that they can tell you one level, put you at a lower level, and then they're making more net commission as an override on you as an agent. And all you have to do is call the carrier to double check what your actual level is once they contract you.
So basically, we can categorize this one as, we're at number 5 or 4. This is 4?
I think this is 4 because I stole number 3 from you.
Well, stealing. I didn't say it yet. But so number 4, I think we could categorize this as verbally promising something and then reneging on that verbal promise.
Yes.
Yep. That's a big one. For number 5, I have one that's kind of similar. Lying about contract levels.
Yeah.
That's I mean, the most egregious one I've seen in the Medicare space is the old 5 agent requirement for a GA contract.
Yeah.
You need 5 agents that are under you, contracted, ready to go, to have a GA contract, which is just blatantly false, and it has been for a very, very long time now, probably at least 10 years. At least. For those of you that don't know what I mean, a GA contract on the Med Sup side means a totally different thing than a GA contract on the Medicare Advantage side. A GA contract on the Med Sup side simply means that you are an independent agent. You're not an LOA, but a GA contract, general agent contract for the Medicare Advantage side means that you're able to have one level above street level. A lot of times you're getting a, $30, $40, $50 override on apps written in your organization. And you're moved up a level, so there's room for agents at street level to be contracted underneath you. And for so long, even in 2025, we had an agency approach us recently that is really considering hard moving over to us because they were told the 5 agents. Now, there is 2 carriers that have a 3 agent requirement now. They've changed that in the last year or 2, but the biggest name carriers, right, just require the 1, but there's still FMOs in 2025, big ones for that matter, like 10,000 agents that will tell their agents, yeah, it's a carrier requirement. You need 5. And they'll stay at street level and miss out on any overrides they could be producing. They have 3 agents, 4 agents. They're waiting to get their 5th or something. It's criminal. It's a blatant lie. Now, sometimes an FMO might have a good reason for not wanting to give a GA contract coming from the other side of things.
Right.
I think that would be if you are so new that you don't even know what you're doing yourself.
Right.
And you're not writing anything. You don't have any experience. So from an FMO perspective, if someone moves up to a GA contract, the reason they're getting that override, and it's in the contracts they sign with the carriers, by the way, to bump up, is so that they will be able to train and support the agents underneath them. If I'm an FMO and I'm having to do that for you because you're not capable of doing it or you're too lazy to do it, I don't really want to bump you up unless you're capable of training the people underneath you. But if that is the way an FMO feels, or that's the position you're coming from, say that. Don't say it's the carriers, you lying fuck. It's not you. And I've seen this over and over and over and over
Sure.
and over again.
Absolutely.
I still see it all the time in 2025. So lying about commission levels, big one.
They lie on the life side. I remember early on in my career, there were several uplines that lied to me about what street level is as an independent agent. I was told for most of these final expense contracts, specifically when I was really shopping FMOs after I was leaving the agency, I was told by several that 100% was, which again, logically, if you don't understand the industry, you don't know the business, it makes sense. It makes sense that the top level or a street level, and if you don't have an agency, if you don't have overrides, you don't have agents under you, it's just you as an independent solo producer, and you hear that, 100% is the top, you're thinking, okay, that makes sense. But the reality is street level is mostly like 110 or 115. So they're telling this like white lie in a lot of ways because they're trying to scrape a few extra points off the top for themselves.